of a different video today. A lot of you know when I talk about bags and stuff, but actually my favourite topics are to talk about work, saving, finances, investment and things like that. And I had a really good question that came through from one of you, and I'm going to mix it in with a couple of other questions as well. The first is from Living. And Living, I feel like you have been a commenter and a subscriber for many years. Thank you for your support, but also the comments you leave. I love them. They're always so positive and they always add something to the topic. So Living has asked for a video that kind of covers COVID-related financial advice, information or advice from those who might be unemployed right now, people that are thinking about using the time to upskill, as well as if you've been thinking about changing jobs or you were going to get a promotion at the beginning of the year and now it's all gone down the absolute toilet. Any advice for that? I'm going to tag that on with a section at the end where I talk about my vision board, because my plans, just like loads of other people's, has a lot of them are physically not possible this year because of restrictions on things and the way things have gone. We're definitely entering, if we're not already in, a recession. The last recession that happened at the end of the 2000s, that was the first time that I was ever new into the workplace and had to go through that. So I got my first job when that all kicked off. I had no clue how it was going to impact anything, and I learned quite a bit from it. So I think some of that learning might help in this video, so I'll talk about that. The thing that killed me the most was the debt that I was carrying around, which I've spoken about before. The reason why it killed me the most is that, first of all, the job I was at the time, they made a load of redundancies, and those of us who kept our jobs only kept them if we took a 30% pay cut. And 30%, I know a lot of people right now who are having to take pay cuts like that, and it makes it really difficult to continue to afford everything that you're used to affording in your life, because I think a lot of people live to their paycheck. So there was that, but also with my debt, the APRs and everything shot right up. So suddenly I've got this salary that's 30% less. My debt has all jumped up in terms of like minimum payments, price of food's gone up, price of petrol's gone up. And those things kind of created a magical toxic mess that really pulled me down for the years while the recession was going on. So my first financial bit of advice is for anyone who's got any debt right now, try and consolidate it. What I ended up doing that worked for me is I had debt spread out over different credit cards, and it was debt that I'd accumulated at university. I ended up taking all of those credit cards into one, and I took out a credit card, I think it was with MBNA. MBNA normally offer quite big account facilities, credit limits, and they normally have quite good deals when it comes to interest-free periods. I took all of the money on all of the credit cards, put them onto one MBNA card, worked out, I think it was something like 12 or 24 months that I got interest free, and I took the amount on the credit card, divided it by 24, worked out how much the monthly would have been. I couldn't afford to clear it in 2 years, so I had to do it a couple of times with different credit cards, but it made it so much more manageable because I didn't have loads of cards I was trying to manage, and also I was saving on the APR. The APR is what kills. If you don't want to do the credit card thing, you can take out a bank loan, put all of your credit cards into one bank loan so you're paying one fixed APR, destroy the credit cards, cut them up. What I did after that is I always kept one aside, but I keep it in the house somewhere just for if ever I needed it. As I got older, I got more responsible, and now I can trust myself with a credit card. But back then, I could not. I always think in a recession, being kind of quite fluid and flexible, not having loads of liabilities and having some money in the bank is always a really good position to be in. It allows you to be agile and quite mobile. So that could even be in ways such as, in a recession, prices go up of some things, but prices also go down of others. So at the moment in the UK, we're in this real peak of a housing price situation where everything's just gone up when you wouldn't assume it would. My thoughts are that that's going to crash in probably a year, 2 years, that's my estimation. And being agile and having some money for a deposit saved is going to be a really good situation for you right now, so that if things do drop down, you're going to be in a position to move quite quickly. Before I move on to work, I do just want to say though that with a recession, when you hear the word, it can be really scary, and the first natural response is to think, I'm not going to spend anything. But in my experience, worrying about it is futile. Recessions tend to happen, from what I've seen, like every 10 years, and they affect everyone differently. Some people, if they have lots of liabilities, lots of debt, unsecured debt, maybe like a really big mortgage, things like that, that can have an impact on them. But then also there are some people who it actually benefits. So I don't think you should necessarily go into it terrified, which is what I did back in the late 2000s. And actually it did nothing. Worrying about it did nothing. Now, work. Let's talk about work. I had one of you email me a couple of days ago now, and you were saying that at the beginning of 2020, and I'm not going to say your name, and I hope you don't mind me kind of recapping it, but I think your situation's probably going to be quite common for a lot of people. You were saying at the beginning of 2020, there was a promotion on the cards. Then kind of in March, the COVID situation hit, and that promotion is now on hold. If I was in that situation, the thing that I would do is I would take a moment to understand how the business that I work for has been impacted by COVID. Because what you don't want to do is, if people are being laid off left, right and centre, and you know the business has performed really badly from it, the last thing you want to do when you've still got your job is be like, I want my promotion now, because it could impact the job that you already have. But also, I understand that from the point of view of career progression, you might be in a situation where you're just bored and you're ready for it, and you're like, thanks COVID, you know, this has come along and kind of ruined things. So I would take a moment to understand how the business has performed, and if anyone has had to be laid off, and I would take that into consideration. If you think pushing for a promotion when the company's potentially done really badly is probably not going to get you anywhere, I would wait it out. Keep your job going if you're someone who has kept your job on. Do your best, carry on doing your best. Just in your mind, just delay that promotion. If towards the end of the year you have an annual review, I don't know about you, but everywhere I've ever worked, the annual review tends to be in December, and then it's tied to like a bonus that you get for Christmas and stuff like that. So as we're coming up to that time now, use that time, use that meeting, if you get such a thing, as an option to talk about your intentions with that promotion. So let's say you get to that meeting at the end of the year, listen to what they've got to say, like, yeah, you've done a really great job and we're really happy with you. Then pitch it forward and say, look, I know we've got this COVID situation, which has kind of put a spanner in the works, but is there any way we could put kind of a bit of a roadmap or a plan in place so that I can start moving towards this promotion? I just think this is an unprecedented year, and normally I would push in a gentle but firm way, but I think this year it's changed everything, and I just think be aware of how the company is done, and then bear that in mind before you go forward and ask for the promotion again. If you are unemployed because of COVID, or even actually if you're one of those people that wanted the promotion and you don't think it's going to happen, or maybe you still have your job but you're working in a company and you're just thinking, you know, the writing's on the wall here, maybe you've noticed that work has been significantly down and you're worried about your position. You would think that looking for a new job during a recession is probably one of the worst things you can do, but here's why I think it isn't. So if you're unemployed, this might help you. When I was looking for a new job, I thought that this recession is big, there's not going to be any work out there. I was so wrong. There was a lot of work out there because, and I'm seeing it happen again now, the recession was an excuse for companies to clear out and get rid of people that they wanted to get rid of before, only this time they could make them redundant under the proviso of there's a recession and we can't, you know, the business has been affected. Then what they do, as I was seeing, they were changing the job title slightly, I'm recruiting new people, and I'm seeing it again right now. There are more jobs than ever where it's essentially the same job with a different job title. In the UK, it's illegal, but it happens. And it's kind of like, try and prove it. You know, it's a really difficult thing to prove. So, if you want that promotion and it's not happening, if you're working for a company and you're worried that because you work with customers or you work with clients and your first-hand experiences, you're seeing the work isn't there, don't be too worried about looking for a new job. If you're unemployed and you're struggling, I would personally, what I always used to do whenever I applied for a job is I'd take the job spec and I would individually, it's painstaking, but I would individually alter my CV so that it appears perfect for that job. If you go for a job that's digital focused and you have digital experience, I'm talking about marketing because that's all I know, hype up the digital stuff you've done. If you're going for a job and it's events and you've also worked in events, put to the top the events work you've done. So, and use some of the language that's used in the job description, use some of that in your CV. So if they need someone that is really good at pitching for new work, you could put that at the top of your CV. You know, one of my key skills is pitching for new work. So it's about trying to put forward how perfect you would be for that job without an potential employer having to read through loads of it. Put right at the top of page 1, make it sound like you were custom made for this job. Upskilling is also a really good thing to be doing now. I know quite a few people that are doing it, and I know people who have always wanted to get degrees, qualifications. Although this year has been awful, it's also, I think, a year that has given us all time off in a way that we will never get again. I mean, when have you ever known, ever in the history of anything, a time where we are all forced to go and stay home for 3 months? When has that ever happened? And in a way, I think to some people that would have been awful. To me, I hated it. To other people though, that would have been a real gift. And using that time as a moment to reflect on, actually, do you know, am I happy with my life? Do I even like the job that I do? I get to spend more time at home with the kids and with my loved ones. Has it made you rethink things? And I know I've had a lot of you writing to me as well saying, during COVID, it's really, really weird, but I've actually decided to emigrate and work in a whole different industry. And it might be the wrong time to do it, but I've done it. I actually don't think it's the wrong time to do it. I think that right now there are a lot of opportunities out there. Honestly, there have been occasions where I've left places and I've questioned whether I should really have left because I've really liked it, and I've ended up somewhere so much better. I'm now going to talk about vision boards, what they are, and if any of this has got you thinking, anything from what I've spoken about has got you thinking, then this next bit should help you to actually put that into practice a bit. Kind of a cheat going on here because I'm filming this a few days later because I ran out of time in that earlier bit. But vision boards, I've had quite a few of you just recently asking me, how do they work? Where do you start with them? What are they? And I'm going to show you mine, which I've stripped back for the reason being that 2020 has ruined most of my plans, and instead of kind of getting annoyed and frustrated with it, I am working out things that I can do this year that are maybe not things like travel, but they're things that I can still achieve, and it's just making me feel a lot better about this year. Well, kind of, because this year's just a mess. So a vision board basically works on the law of attraction, which some of you, I'm sure you've heard about, and it's essentially about manifesting things that you want in your life. This is how it works for me. It's about knowing what you want, which is pretty important. A lot of people don't even know what they want in life. They want a nice life, but if you ask them, well, how are you going to get there, and what job do you want to do, and where do you want to travel to, they kind of don't. They've got a few ideas, but they don't really know. I think the main thing to getting what you want in life and getting the life that you want is to really think about it from the point of view of work, family, travel, happiness, life experiences, and kind of know the things that you would want to do, and the things that you will want to do will change over time. So with what I'd written down at 23, it was very much about financials and stuff. When I rewrote it again in 2014, it had changed. It was still about financials, and it still is to me. I'm a very target-driven person when it comes to my work. But actually, as I've got older, it's become more about friends and hoping everyone that I know has good health, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of what I've done. But I do think it's about knowing what you want, and you have to act. When you put things on your vision board, you have to act within yourself without a doubt that, okay, it's on here now, that's coming to me, I'm waiting for that. That will come to me, and you have to believe without a doubt that, yeah, the saddlebag, which I've just put on here for argument's sake, yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that by the end of the year, or probably within the next 2 years, I'm gonna own that bag. Or that promotion, yeah, by the end of the year, I'm gonna have that promotion. Incidentally, this is something else you can put on here. So I like to put travel down. I also do like to put stuff down, but I like to put in writing things. So I've written on here, promotion by December 2020. That's the kind of thing you can put on here. And I do like to put, for things like this, I like to put dates alongside it, because otherwise it kind of turns up as and when, I tend to find. Other things that you can add, and this is, I wanted to talk about this because this is actually quite creepy. Back in 2015, I put this on my vision board. Now, 2015, did I say that? At the time, I was driving a Boxster. I've always been really into cars, and I really like the Porsche brand. And I've always wanted a 911, but in 2015, I just quit my job to start a business with my husband, and I kind of didn't know where the money was coming from at the time. It was kind of coming in grassroots, but it wasn't, like, it was good, but it wasn't what I'd been earning before. So for me to have put that on my vision board, that could have happened, I didn't know when. This, let me find something. Hidden all over this was scraps of paper. And when I started taking all the paper off just now, I was unearthing things that have been on here a while, and this was one of them. Now the creepy thing is, I ended up getting this car in 2016, a year after I put this on my vision board. When I put this on my vision board, I believed it would happen one day, but I didn't think it would happen that quickly, because as I say, I was kind of in a new business, and I didn't think it would happen that quickly. Now the other weird thing, underneath this, I'm dropping papers, underneath this was this. For any of you who saw the video that I did a couple of weeks ago, where I test drove this car, it's creepy. I can't even remember when I put this on here, do you know that? Now with this car, I was originally, this year, this is how weird it is. I decided a while ago that I was gonna keep this car because it's everything that I want and I love it, and I don't need anything new. So I wasn't gonna sell it. Then I got a call from Porsche in August, and they said, do you wanna get rid of your car? And I said no. And they said, well, how about if we do you a really good deal on a new car, and do you a really good deal on what we'll give you for your car? And when they put the numbers to me, I was shocked, because from my experience, and I've had Porsches since I was like 26 or something, they don't do deals. So when they were talking about this deal, it's obviously a COVID deal, isn't it, I guess? And that's the car. I've ordered it, it's turning up in December, but for me, I find that creepy. So yeah, that's basically what I do. If you don't have room in your house for something like this, get yourself a notebook, write it down. I quite like this because I'm quite visual and I like to see what I'm aiming for. I also recommend with this that you put on here kind of quick term things that are possible. So for example, you might put something on here like, I want to this year take a weekend break. That's all I want to do. I'm not going to say where, I'm not going to say when, just want to take a weekend break. That kind of thing isn't impossible. And when it happens, I think it gives you faith that this is going to work out. The board, by the way, I get questions on this. This is actually from Hobbycraft, but you can buy them on Amazon. I painted mine white because it was that cork colour before and I didn't like it. And that's everything. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.